Union Public Service Commission, which organizes the civil services examination in our country at a national scale. Students and graduates from all walks of life, from all sorts of branches, all sorts of studying domains appear for this examination. And this examination helps you to become an officer of a grade A or grade B officer, which will allow you to be in a position where you can make a big difference in your country and in the people around. So this, what you see on your screen right now, is the image of the UPSC building in Delhi, which is located near India Gate. This is known as the Dholpur House, and this is where UPSC conducts all its interviews. So if you clear the prelims as well as the mains examination, the interviews are conducted in this building. So as I mentioned, UPSC examination is in 3 stages: prelims, mains, and interview. And we will be talking about all the 3 stages today. So like I mentioned, there are a lot of services in which you can become a member of, or you can attain service in these particular services. So but of course, we all are aware with Indian Administrative Service. We are aware with Indian Audits and Account Service. There is the Indian Revenue Service. There is one more service which is considered extremely prestigious and important, and that is the Indian Forest Service. Since we are doing this session today in your university, which is the Birsa Agricultural University, you all, in one way or the other, are eligible to appear for the Indian Forest Service examination as well. So earlier what happened, UPSC had conducted these 2 papers separately. There was a separate civil services examination and a separate forest service examination. However, now the 2 have been clubbed at the preliminary stage. So there is only one paper for both civil services as well as Indian Forest Service at the prelim stage. And the cutoff for the 2 will be different. So, for instance, if there is, it's a 200-mark paper. If the cutoff for UPSC Civil Services is somewhere around 95, the cutoff for Indian Forest Service mains examination will be around 110 or 105, depending on the nature of the paper. Reason being, because the number of seats for the Forest Service examination in the Forest Service are less. That is why the cutoff goes higher. So, as you all are, studying in this agricultural university, there is a lot of scope for you, to prepare in this examination, because there is a lot of coverage that you will already be doing in your graduation as well as post-graduation courses. So, like I just, these are the few services. We'll talk about the pros and cons of some of these services in detail. I just want to briefly introduce as to why a career in civil services, is considered very prestigious. It is considered important. Of course, we all know that, we see the district collector in our area, we see the SDM, the kind of power they wield, the kind of perks and the kind of facilities that they are provided with. We see it on a day-to-day basis. So we do realize that this is something extremely prestigious and has high social stature. But what we also need to understand is that this is something that is within your reach, because this is an all India examination, and when the UPSC is conducting this examination, it does take into account that students from all walks of life, from all areas, rural, urban, any kinds, are eligible to want to appear for this examination. And so UPSC tries its level best to create a level playing field for everyone. I always say that, why civil services, people always think about the Lal Batti, the red beacon car, and they think about the big bungalows that civil which you may not have done before. So if you are in any other career in India, no matter you are the CEO of a top MNC also, that also will not give you the kind of scale and the kind of capacity that a civil servant has. So what you see in front of me is Amravati. This was supposed to be the capital of Andhra Pradesh, and after the split of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, this capital city was supposed to be created for Andhra Pradesh because Hyderabad continued to stay with Telangana, and the role of the government was to build this city from scratch. So can you imagine the scale? You've got a greenfield project, a Kora piece of land, and you have to build a full city out of it. So how exciting that would be. You can build roadways, you have to build about infrastructure, you have to think about transport, you have to think about health, you have to think about residential areas, complexes, commercial places, parks, all sorts of public amenities. There is so much scope that a civil servant had to do, has to do. There is no other job in this country which will give you this kind of an opportunity. So of course the mandate and the power of the government is incomparable with any other institution in our country. Another point that most of the students think that if you go to a government office you will always see some babus surrounded by heaps of files, and we are forced to think that this is a very monotonous and treacherous work, and they are just consumed with paperwork and not doing anything else. That is absolutely not true anymore. The civil servants of India are have become extremely innovative, especially with the use of technology, and they are trying to find innovative solutions to all problems of all the people around. So what you see here is an example of such sorts. This is an example of a canal-topped solar power project, which was first undertaken in Gujarat. Now, this project, if you see, this particular project won the Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration. And what is so brilliant about this project is that if you have to install solar panels, you need a large piece of land. And India is a country which is, of course, deficit in land as such. So either you're going to waste a lot of resource, because this is like a permanent establishment. So either a lot of land was going to be used, or something had to be done about finding place for these solar panels. Another advantage, the people involved in this project, especially the DM of this particular district, decided to place it on top of the canal. The added advantage of this situation was that he could prevent evaporation, because Gujarat is a semi-arid state and it's a dry state. So he could prevent a lot of evaporation from the canal, and the water was being lost. So that could also be reversed. So it was a win-win situation. And just as I mentioned, this project received the Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration. Now, if you realize that this is a very innovative idea and a very innovative project, and it is only for a civil servant to have that kind of mandate to bring about solutions at this scale, and to bring about different elements together and innovative ideas, and finally executed with the help of government money. So the resources are at your disposal. You just have to have the will and dedication to implement those resources. So of course there is a lot of scope for innovation. Now here I'm going to talk. This is, of course, we mentioned about Indian administrative services and what all it has advantages of being DM. DM is usually appointed from the Indian administrative services. Mr. Bilal Bhatt will be joining us shortly, and you can ask for his experiences more in detail. Now, here I'm talking about touching a little bit on the Indian Foreign Service. This is, can anybody tell me the name of the lady on the right in this particular slide? Can you tell me who is she? The answers can be mentioned in the chat box, please. Does anybody know the name of the girl on the right? Meanwhile, I'll tell you a bit about the lady on the left. The lady on the left in the sari is Madam Ruchira Kamboj. She is she at one point in time she is in fact the first woman chief of protocol. So in India there is a post called chief of protocol. So what happens when people from different heads of states, like the prime ministers and the presidents of different places come together, they meet and they have meetings and conferences. There is a certain protocol which is followed, that who will stand where, who will do what, who will shake hands first. Right. Thank you. I've started receiving the answers. All these things are protocols. So these protocols, are followed. So there is always a one person in India. There is a chief of protocol post, who is responsible for meeting, greeting all the dignitaries that come into India, and who organizes everything for them on behalf of the government of India. So she was the chief of protocol, and the lady who she is greeting here in this image is the Prime Minister of Liberia. Now, where is Liberia? I'll just show you in the next slide. This is where Liberia is. This is Liberia. So, one thing I want to just quickly mention here is, if you are preparing for civil services and if you come across the name of any country or anything that you do not know, or you want to know, or you are not very clear or sure about, please use the internet extensively and Google it right away. Don't wait for anyone to come and give you this information. If I talk about a country and if I just mention Liberia and you think that you didn't really clearly know, of course the name sounds a bit African, but you are not very sure, please Google it right away. So this is one habit that you should be developing at this stage while you are still in college, because this is going to go a long way in developing your knowledge base. Okay, so yeah, going back to the slide, Sneha Dubey is the correct answer. India's first secretary to UN. She was at that time. That's right. Correct. So she was at that time India's first secretary to United Nations. Right now, I think she's posted in Mexico, and she is someone who, if she in fact made India proud by giving a befitting reply to the Prime Minister of Pakistan, who on the floor of the United Nations General Assembly, laid accusations on our country, and completely unfounded accusations. And she gave him a very befitting reply. She told him how she dismantled his arguments one by one, and she made the stand of India very clear. So her speech is there available on YouTube. You can go and listen to it. She was firm, she was steady, and she did it in a very dignified manner. So this is something, and she was, I think, all of 29 or 30 years of age at that point. So to have that kind of might, that cloud, and that power to bring down the arguments of the Prime Minister of another country, only civil services can give you this kind of opportunity. So yes, she is Sneha Dubey. I'm glad I got many answers correct. Well done, all of you. And moving on to the next slide, as I was talking about Ruchira Kamboj, she is now the first woman to take over India, become India's permanent representative at the United Nations. So she is now posted in New York. So permanent representative to the United Nations is a person who is the head of the diplomatic mission. So all the of course, another matter of great pride for women. Okay, no marks for guessing who he is, but quickly I want the answers in the chat box, please. Who is he and why is he famous? Absolutely right, Amit Kishore. That's right, Aditya. Very nice, Anal, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good answers. He is Mr. Ajit Doval. And who's going to tell me about his designation? What is his designation currently? Okay, yes, he's the National Security Advisor. Yes, NSA is the correct answer. He's the National Security Advisor to the government of India. So that is a topmost position, and he is a member of which services? Anybody? Thank you, Preeti. Tanu. Yes, he was a member of the Indian Police Service. In fact, he was the first police officer to receive the Kirti Chakra. So, again, lots of laurels are attributed to him. Now, I want to emphasize here another point that so many girls are answering, Preeti, Deepika. I want to tell you all that, Indian police is usually associated with men. The notion is that it's associated with men. However, I want to emphasize the fact that women are in fact doing very, very well